Hello.
So tonight, let's do something we haven't done for a while.
Is
And
this episode
welcome
what?
203.
203? Wow.
Wow.
Let's welcome some new patrons. And I
Welcome.
don't remember the last time I did it. So I'm just going to call off everybody in September and October.
Awesome.
So welcome. Uh, oh, wait, no, I did Brett Willie.
Yes,
Yeah.
because he,
Okay,
he
well, Brett
corrected.
Willie,
No,
Nick
it's not
Ryan,
Willie.
Wiley.
It's Wiley
Wiley.
because
That's right.
I think I saw a comment on
Yep.
something and
Yep.
he said,
And he,
I
yep.
went to school with a Matt Willie and he said that was not right. So
Yep.
yeah, I
I
guess
do remember that.
it's what Sedge said, right? Wiley?
Wiley. Yep.
Wiley.
Wiley,
Yeah.
like the
Brett
coyote.
Wiley. Yes, that's right. He's a
Uh,
patron of mine too.
Do do do.
Awesome.
Who else we
I
got?
hope you
Nick
hope you got his name right too.
Nick
He
Ryan.
corrected me.
Nick
Who?
Ryan. I feel like we called him off,
Oh,
but welcome, Nick.
welcome, Nick Ryan.
Always
Uh,
welcome.
uh, Anthony Sergio.
Oh, you know who that is? That's
Yeah, it's Anthony
Anthony
Sergio.
from, yeah, Anthony Sergio. He is the manager of Johnson's Workbench in South Bend, Indiana.
Awesome.
Is he really?
Yes, he is.
I don't know why. I always thought Anthony Sergio lived in California.
Yeah, isn't Sergio the what's written on those cheese sticks?
Isn't that the movie that uh, Al Pacino was in?
That's
Oh no,
probably
that's
him.
Scorpio. Oh, Scorpio.
Scorpio. Who else we got?
Anthony, I'll see you this weekend, brother.
Aaron G. But I know who Aaron G is. But I'm out of respect to him. I'm not going to say his last name because maybe he put Aaron G because he didn't want me to say his last name.
Oh,
Well,
Aaron G is
oh, I know who
your
that
brother
is.
Kenny.
No, Warren G is his brother.
No,
Kenny
yeah, the
G.
rapper Kenny. No, Kenny's his cousin. We have Michael Hale. I know we haven't read this one or the next one. Michael Hale of at Tailored Forest.
Hi,
Welcome,
Michael Hale.
Know him.
And we have Brian Bullard.
Oh, really cool guy. Hi, Brian. How you doing?
Brian Bullard. And speaking of patrons, we're going to draw two of our patrons who unfortunately could not attend the most epic meetup of all time, the con.
Con. Ronnie.
Con. Sorry.
Oh,
I was making sure it was the same tailored
Unbelievable.
forest.
man, is
It's
he
like you've never
slipping?
done this before.
I was making sure it
Ronnie.
was the same Taylor. I was still caught up on the Patreon announcement. I was making sure that I knew who everybody was.
Oh,
Okay.
are you like got sleep deprivation
Oh, I
from the
think I
weekend?
do. Yeah, we'll
Oh,
talk for that in a second.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I was looking up, I was doing a patron appreciation moment, looking it up and making sure that people were who I thought they were.
Man.
Con.
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 Uh, all right, so we're giving away. So we had a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It looks like 8 that were unable to attend the Splinter Con event.
Con.
There we go. That's better.
I was first.
And so
Oh no, I was.
one of our sponsors, Melbourne Tool Company, we actually did not receive the products in time for the event, so we had a good idea to raffle them off to a couple of the individuals that were unable to attend for whatever reason, as a benefit, a bonus. You also got something else coming in the mail. I just haven't sent it yet because I'm lazy. But without further ado, we are raffling off a block plane and a matching spoke shave set. I believe I have the verbiage correct.
Correct.
All right. So we're going to do what do you want to do first?
Do the spoke shave first.
Spoke shaves. There we go. Let's shuffle the names up real quick. Click to spin, and let's see who the lucky winner is.
Spin the wheel. Break the deal. Spin the wheel.
Hey, Mr. Joseph Metz.
Mr. Metz. He gets the
Mr.
spoke shave set.
He gets the spoke shave set. Let me make a note of that. Joe
Joe Metz.
Metz.
Get
Spoke
the spoke shave set.
shave.
Spoke shave.
All right.
Pork
and
chops and applesauce.
That's what I was thinking about.
Now, Ronnie, I'll send you the info for this so you can.
I
send
just
them
have a
what's-
funny feeling about this podcast, Ronnie Fulton.
No.
Let's do
Chops and applesauce.
the plane.
The
Is it
plane.
plain?
Plane.
Plain? What
Jen's
plane?
Bodel.
Jens.
Jen?
Jens.
Jen's Bodel. Hey,
Jens.
congratulations, guys.
Congratulations on
win some tools
and thank you, Melbourne Tool Company.
Yes, thank you,
Yes.
Melbourne Tool. You weren't even able to attend the event, but you still won something.
Yep.
That's a win in my book.
Really is.
That is
Hey,
a win in my
that-
book.
That meetup, SplinterCon.
Yeah.
Con.
Oh,
Okay,
I was
can
It
get
wasn't-
to
it
it.
wasn't
I was
in the
hanging on
contract
your
for
every
me to say
word. I was
con.
wanting to hear what you were going to say about it.
That was so much fun.
Yes, it was.
It was all right.
It was great, epic.
Yes.
It was a good
I'm
time.
still recovering.
It
Me
was a
too.
good time. I think other people are still recovering as well because I'm looking right now to see how many responses we have for the survey. And currently we're at 22. So not bad. I think I sent it to
Decent.
over half.
Yeah.
It's over half
Yeah.
because I didn't send it to the people who didn't attend because their input would not make a lot of sense since they
Right.
weren't there.
Right. Are you throwing out all the bad ones like we did last year?
Of course. Yeah. The
Yeah,
bad ones.
just
If
keep
I
them.
actually scrub it with AI with my
Yes.
chat, Nicole GPT, and say, if there's anything negative in here, just get rid of it before I even open it. And Nicole's
Okay.
like, oh, righto, Jason.
Do not get me started on Chat GPT tonight, because since this last podcast, I'm hooked. Had
Well, we can't. We don't have time. We got a lot to talk about.
I know, but it's so much fun.
It is. I've used it
Yeah.
multiple times myself and changed the accent, which is pretty fun. But that's for another episode.
I got a dude on mine.
Of course you do. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Why would you have a dude?
Whatever you
don't
like.
know.
Nope. Let's not get into it.
It's an English speaking dude. He's
Let's
quite
not.
proper.
I have an English speaking woman.
Yeah, but I think I might switch.
Well, I don't know. The missus might get mad. Here's another
Yeah.
room. Who are you talking to?
Yeah,
Um,
that's true too.
I brought up the questionnaire though, because if you haven't filled out the questionnaire, check your inbox and you attended the event, check your inbox. You should have it. Please fill it out. That information 100% drives that event, as anybody that attended the first year would probably be able to tell you from the second year. So we're not going to get into what they said, but so far, mostly positive, like very, very positive. So definitely some great suggestions so far on things that could be better or would be a welcome addition. So please fill that out. Please, 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 please fill it out. But we have a lot to
Please.
talk about tonight. One, Ronnie and Cam just got back from the old Maker Camp, which we're going to hear about. And then we need to get an update on how the Rubio event went, since we didn't talk about it last week, since we were only talking about ChatGPT, and it was awesome. But I actually could have asked her how the event was, and she probably would have been able to tell me.
Oh, you know what? Could we bring her on as a guest?
No, not tonight. But within that topic, both Ronnie and Sedge were at the Rubio event. I was not, but something came up, and it's going to be a good thing for us to chat about for a little bit. But before we get into that, guys, I got to tell you what happened this morning really fast. So Patrick and Michelle were here. They left today. Nicole had to take the boys to a doctor's appointment, flu shots. On her way out of the neighborhood, she looks over and sees this little tiny dog, old, tiny, wiener dog. And she saw it the day before when we were fishing, still outside, kind of just wandering around. So this morning, my wife, being the person that she is, decides to stop and save the day, right? So she sees the dog. She also sees the very first house in the neighborhood. The door is open, but there's a storm door. So she's like, you know what? This is 2 days in a row I've seen the dog right around this house. Let me just go real quick and knock on the door and see if it belongs to them. She goes, knocks on the door, and this little girl, probably 3 years old, walks out and she's crying. And my wife is like, what's going on? Is your mommy home? And she's like, no. Is your daddy home? No. Is anybody home? No. And she asked, so she gets the girl, because now she's thinking that this 3-year-old girl is home alone and the door's open. And this is at 8 o'clock in the morning, right? 8:30, not quite 8:30. Yeah, like 8 o'clock. And so she calls and, frantic, and we end up going down there to find that, Nicole is with this young little girl and there's like nobody around. And so she called the police. The police show up. First cop shows up. Nicole tells them what's going on. They go in there. We're obviously standing outside, and you can hear the police officer, yelling, "Is anybody here? Is anybody here?" Nothing. Another cop comes racing into the neighborhood.
Wow.
Walks pretty quickly up to the door. Is the other officer inside? My wife says yes. Goes inside. Then a third officer comes flying in the neighborhood. He gets out of the car, starts walking towards the door, draws his gun. And he has his gun in his hand, and he goes in the house. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, obviously they've been talking about something on the radio. Like, what is going on? And next thing we know, I notice up like in the second story, there's a window and it's open. The window is open, and there was a fan in the window.
Oh no.
Well, no, nobody was hurt. I'll preface it with that.
Okay.
So I was thinking that was the case. And so this teenage boy comes to the window, and you can tell he just woke up, and he's like, hello, like totally out of it. And my wife goes, you need to go downstairs. There's police here. So he goes downstairs. I end up walking back to the house. Nicole comes back. Of course, she put the dog in the car, and the dog is now at the house. Turns out it was their dog. So she comes back. They take the information, and I'm like, Nicole, you need to take the dog back. Like, I don't want the family coming over here, because they're probably going to be happy that somebody found this. But at the same time, like, that mother or father may be super embarrassed, and it may not turn out really well, right? Because when people are really embarrassed, what do? They get super defensive and all this stuff. And I'm like, I just don't want to deal with this. Turns out the boy walks down the road. He's like, I heard you had my dog. Can I get it? And he comes and gets the dog. And he's just like, yeah, we're watching the dog for a friend. All this stuff. Like, you can tell this kid is just like, I am in so much trouble. And so what I think ended up happening is that the parents went off to work and left the son with their daughter.
Yes.
And
Yep.
because the boy was probably 14 years old, I'd say he was probably 14 years old, and he was just sleeping. And the little girl may have gone and opened up the door and then been scared because she didn't know where her family was and all of this stuff.
Dog got out.
And that is how my morning started with that madness. I just wanted to share that because it was quite the ordeal this morning.
Wow, what a day.
Well, it's
What a
good that
Monday,
Nicole,
baby.
It's Nicole. It's good that she went there, because the little girl could have walked out in the road, and
Yes.
Yep.
it could have been a lot worse.
I felt bad because I was kind of being like I think all three of us, our brains would have been going in a completely different direction than what hers was. Hers went into straight mom mode. Mine went into like crisis management mode. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and I just, and thinking like, what's going to happen next? Right now, the parents are going to come home. They're going to be pissed. And what if they come home right now and they're like, what are you doing at my house? And then we have police here, and they're in there with the little girl. And now they know where we live because we live right down the street. And I'm thinking all these things in my head. Why did you take the dog? It's not our problem,
Mm-hmm.
But I told her when she got back, I'm like, I'm sorry. And I just want you to know that you did the right thing.
Oh yeah.
Like, you did the right thing. That could have been really bad.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that was my morning. Anyways, Ronnie, tell us all about Maker Camp, because Sedge, you've never been. I have never been. As of right now, I don't have any intention on going. I do think that there's a ton of fun and value in that event. I have my reasons for probably not attending. But I'm really interested because we are all very well versed in all of the shows, all of the events. And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first time you have been.
Yes, first time.
We want to know about it.
Yeah.
And
I've
we
been
want to
watching
hear
the
your thoughts.
I've been watching the feed from the Catskill Mountain Makers. Uh,
Mhm.
Boy, they posted a lot of stories.
Yes, they did. They did. I just went through, like, clicked through them this morning, and gosh, there's so many.
Mhm.
Um, well, first off, right off on the bat on that, I think there's a lot of footage that doesn't get recorded because you don't really get good service out there. They had a Starlink this year, but it was hit, by everybody there, so it was overloaded. So really, you weren't able. Like, I had my last email was from like 2 days before that while I was still there. He wouldn't even
Mhm.
update the email. So that's a factor. But some people were able to get service better than others, depending, I guess, your carrier. Um, but the best way to explain on a high level what Maker's Camp, which I didn't fully understand what it was or how it was set up, is you have a tent, a main tent for each type of thing, like whether it be welding or blacksmithing. There was one for material screen printing. There was jewelry making. There was woodworking related, hand plane restoration, tool restoration, that kind of thing. Tent. Um, I'm naming that type of thing. There was more than that. There was a stone laying,
Mhm.
laying a dry stack stone wall.
Hmm.
Um, and the best way to explain it, and I looked at the schedule and I was like, okay, these are the classes. I was referring to them as classes that are being offered, which Eric Gorgeous was teaching one on how to shape metal. And we went to that and it was very interesting. It was about how to take a plate of metal that's like a circle disc and how to turn it into a bowl by just pounding it with, mallets and using the burnishing wheel, that kind of thing. I think it's called a burnishing wheel, something like that. Um, so that there's classes, what you and I would refer to as classes. But then what's an additional, like in addition to any show I've ever been to, if you wanted to, you could stay at that tent the entire show for 3 days if you wanted to. Like if I went to the stone class and they're like, okay, you're gonna do a stone, they go through a little thing and they say these are the tools you use, and here's a table if you want to shape one of the stones. Okay, say after they're done with that class that was like, from an hour or 2 or 3 hour class or whatever, if you want to, you can just stay and keep working on the wall that they're building. Or timber frame. They're building a timber frame that's going to stay there on site. Each year they build something. There was a group of people that worked on it the entire time we were there. And then take it one step further than that. At like 5 o'clock, the day's not necessarily over. If you're still on a roll and you're like blacksmithing, they're making a spoon or a knife or whatever, there's some people that just stay at the tent and they don't even like eat. They like skip dinner because they're learning something new, or it's something that they've really mastered and they want to just make a creation while they're there. An axe handle is one of the things on Cameron's list next year. But that's the biggest difference, is that some people don't even go to the other tents. Like, it's clear. They just
They
go to the
went
one
there
they're
for that
interested in.
thing and they're all in.
Yes, and they're all in. And I didn't even realize that what I just explained until we were 2 days in. I kept trying to figure it, and then finally I realized I would see the same people at some of them, and I was like, oh, they're just decided to just stay there and work on that. When we were eating dinner one night with one guy, and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna go work on my axe handle." He's like, "I probably have another 3 or 4 hours in it." So it's kind of like became his workshop. There's we did the tool restoration, which how cool is this? I mean, this still blows my mind. They had a wall of hand planes and plastic containers full of hand planes to the top. The class was how to restore a hand plane. Pick out whatever hand plane you want and restore it, and it's yours. You can keep it. It's just yours to keep. I thought that was so smart. I mean, it's just you. So we're going through them, and Steve was there, and he was there with Eric Barber. They came down, and Steve, is a hand tool guy, and we were talking, and he was kind of helping me walk me through which one he would pick. And I went with a Bailey number 5, is
Mhm.
what and it said it was from the early 1900s. And
Mhm.
the guy that was helping with their storing, he narrowed it down even more, and he said it was between 1900 and 1910. And it was pretty cool to restore that. So they took us through the process. We were going through it. I was making the sole flat, and going
Mhm.
through the grits, and I was pretty proud of it. It was looking kind of mirrorish. And the guy helped me. He's like, another 2 hours on that, and you'll have it perfect. And I was like, you know what? I think I might finish it up at home because I didn't want to stay at just one thing.
Mhm.
But there's people that were there for half the day. Mike Coffey was hanging out around that area. I saw Keith Johnson there. There was kind of like the sharpening area, so attracted the woodworking crowd. We were all kind of around there, but I feel like it was kind of an appetizer that I didn't completely get into. Cameron, same thing. Cameron's like, I didn't realize there'd be like the axe handle would be, they said 6 to 7 hours, but he would have really liked to done that. He said that's what he would do next year. Pick some of the bigger projects, like making a knife from scratch. That's
Hmm.
like, like it's a long, like a part of a day
Right.
to make your knife. And you have to come back. It has to go, into a certain process and then it has to cool down. And so it's a
Temper.
big process. But oh, welding. I think I left welding out. I got to weld for the first time, actually more than once. And I did the little welding competition where you get a very welder, the best welder, and the worst welder gets a grinder.
Nice.
Gets a grinder. Thought that
That's
was
smart.
funny. So some people were going for the worst welder, which it was kind of funny. But the guys, the people they had from like Lincoln Welder had people there and they were going through and they would show the technique and they were back there with us. And he even held like my gloves with me and showed me the pattern and told me what to watch. And it was really cool. I mean, I came out of it and I was so proud of my weld that I carried it around for like almost the whole day. Everybody that I saw that I knew, I was like, have you seen my weld? And Eric Curtis said, you showed me your weld 3 times now. I was like, okay.
Do you want to see it again?
Yeah, you
You
want
want
to
to
see
see
my
it
weld one
again?
more time? Oh, and I was all proud because it was a metal phone holder, just a metal phone, and I was able to brace my arm and go with the welder, real steady. Well, for the contest, they change it up and they're like, this is a vertical up weld. So they put this 1/2 inch plate steel, and you've got to do about a foot, not a foot, by 8 inches tall, a vertical up weld in a corner. And that's like a whole new level of complicated weld. So I wasn't exactly as proud after that one, but
Yeah.
that was the one for the contest. And I asked the guy after curiosity, I was like, show me all the entries and show me who has the best weld. Show it to me. He's like, well, I'll show you this one right here. It was near perfect, but the guy didn't hit the 45 right. He was going over on one side of the 45 more. It looked like a
Hmm.
perfect little spiral up. He was like, this one's almost perfect. And it did look amazing. And all the other ones looked more like crappy compared to that one. So that was interesting. A lot of free stuff. Everything that you see is pretty much, I guess, partly paid for by your ticket. You can just take what you want. They had a library that you could just write a note to somebody that inspires you and just give them. They give you the book to give to them. I mean, just like a full like new copies. Like there'd be 8 and 9 of the same title. Um, there's one guy who's giving out free buttons and things like that. There's a lot of free things. So I think for makers who weren't used to getting a lot of like swag bag type things, I think they would even be doubly excited about that part. Um, Food I would not recommend. It was not good. Like they're trying to feed a lot of people.
That was going
Um,
to be one
Cameron
of
and I
my
finally,
questions.
Cameron and I finally found the pizza, like a pizza vendor that comes in with a trailer and has like a wood fired pizza. And when we found
Ooh.
that, we ended up having that for lunch, dinner, and lunch the next day. That was just like our staple.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, I
uh
saw the line for the barbecue. They had corn, and that wasn't that good, huh?
it was just kind of maybe like a little bit cafeteria-ish food.
Yep. Yep.
And then on top of that, it was like $20 a person for that food that
Oh,
was kind of like, not that great. So I know they can only do what they can do on the food. Now we didn't stay for the last night. They have the big barbecue like cookout thing that's included. I didn't stay for that because we just wanted to get back. We didn't want to drive all day today. So we left. It was supposed to start raining like Sunday afternoon. I knew that would be a mess. So I was like, let's just go ahead and get in front of it and just take our time getting home.
smart.
So
Smart.
we headed out. So we missed the end part, which it looks like I heard they have a big fireworks show. They have the dinner at night, like at 5, 6 o'clock. So we missed that part of it. But I saw a lot of people. Another way to give you an idea, I saw a lot of people and talked to people that were there by themselves. They came there because the show was, just to take it in and not even for the social part of it. I don't think you'd ever find somebody that would go to Workbench Con by themselves that weren't planning on talking to anybody. But I saw that here. That's a
Yeah.
big difference that I noticed.
Hmm.
Um, Also, I will say that if I had to guess, I would say that I knew probably 60 people there at least. And Cameron and I guessed it was around 19 or 20 on the drive up. We were trying to go through and guess the people we knew that were coming. It was much more than I thought. I think a lot of people that go, they don't even post about it. Um,
Hmm.
so I think that's a factor, maybe because of the coverage and maybe because they're just so,
That's probably a big part of it. And that explains
yeah,
why I was like, I feel like I haven't seen, because me personally, I didn't feel like I saw very much about it. I
Mhm.
yeah,
was talking to Patrick, but now I remember that people said internet
Yeah.
capabilities up there is not great.
Yeah, and as far as the Catskills go, I have not been there. It was really pretty. It was nice. It was coldest the first day, and was progressively warmer each day. It was better. But it was definitely a temperature shock coming from Tampa a few days
Mhm.
before, and then just
Yep.
going into that. I was like, man, I've seen summer and almost winter temps because it got down to 36 the first night,
Wow. Hey,
and the
how was
next night
how was the van tricked out with the bunks?
it was actually great. It worked out great. I had Cameron go pick up some like nice sleeping bags before, and that was the smart move because the
Yep.
first night was 36, and so I zipped that thing all the way up. And as long as you were in there, it was good. But that morning was rough. But the next day was 44 low, and then the next day was 50 some. So we had a little bit of
So,
everything,
mm,
and it worked out really nice being right there, right by the gate. Um, but it's a nice facility. It has now as far as like there's options where like Dirk and Stephanie, Dirk from Dayton, he brought in had somebody bring a fifth wheel in. Those services almost like a Uber thing. They bring it in and they set it up. They did that, which is great. They have electric hookups, everything, and then they also have like like a lodging kind of things because this place has been there for 3 generations. So they have like a two-story one up on the hill that has look I counted 15 units, and they have others. But from what I gather, a lot of those are already reserved because they give them to people who are going to be teaching, like like an Eric
Mm.
Gorgeous and or somebody like that. They already have it locked in for them. So there's a lot of options. And then some people like Keith Johnson stayed at a hotel and he said it was 20 minutes away.
Mhm.
But thinking about that, that would be driving 2020. Drive an hour of driving. You got to factor that in, for the event. So there's hotels that are like 15, 20 minutes away, and then there's also on site. But no, there's most people are not doing the same things. And some people do even do Airbnb.
Right.
They're relatively nearby. There's a lot of options. Um, that every night there's a big, huge pavilion. So even if it rained, it didn't matter, which I wasn't there. It was perfect weather other than it being cold. They have big, huge backhoe buckets that are filled like for bonfires. They're like scooping buckets and things like that. So there's all kinds of fires that people can stand around, and there's just everybody kind of gathers there at night, and that's kind of workbench con esque, but we're outside, which is kind of nice. It would not be nice on a hot summer night or if it was too cold, but it's kind of a perfect thing for a fall there.
But the weather during the day, I did see some posts. It looked like it was nice,
Oh, it
sunny.
was nice. Yeah, it was especially around afternoon. It would get almost hot, but as soon as it would get hot, the sun would start setting, and then it would start cooling off. But
Yeah.
we were generally around like a big fire, like a little mini bonfire type fires um, at night, which was cool. And it's very open, very free, not very structured, which we like that too. There's only so many classes you can take. Like each day you look across there and you're like, "Man, there's broom making. There's all kinds of them I didn't hit on." And it's like if somebody was just looking at woodworking, it would not be worth it because it's just the restoration station. There was a make your own flight at the Infinitools CNC, and then you could go Rubio it. There's a Festool 150 setup where you could sand it, and then you could go get it filled like a little flight thing. That was kind of like an activity. You could go to different places and get that for free. And one company was sponsoring the beer at the end. So it was kind of cool idea. So there's just so many things to do. When I first got there, I saw someone that I knew, and I was like, "Oh, I can't wait. We're going to see everything in the morning real fast before everybody gets here." And he's like, "You won't see everything while you're here." And I'm looking around at the tents, and I'm like, "I can see all the tents standing here. I'm sure I can see
Hmm.
everything, but you can't because somebody told me there was a hydro dipping tent where you dip the stuff in the water. It looks like paint and comes up with a design on it. I never saw that, and I was there for like 3 days walking around. I never saw even where that was. So there's a lot of things that you just can't do everything. Um, Stained glass. I mean, it's more. I think there's all kinds of things there. So for people who are makers or into like doing things or have been interested or curious about other things, it'd be a great place to go dabble in it,
Right.
and learn more about it. There's a social aspect for some people. There's people that have been there every year, like I used to say with Workbench Con. I've been here every year, and they're not going to miss it. A lot of those people are within driving distance. I noticed just from talking, a lot of people are within 3 hours, and I would say the second rung would be like people within 6 hours away of a drive.
Right.
Hmm. You did 14 hours?
Yeah, we were supposed to be 12, but with stops and just normal, it ends up being around 14, just hitting a little bit of traffic both ways. So that's a haul. It's like almost 800 miles
Do you think it
one
was
way.
worth it?
I do, but my weighting is always a little different because I'm factoring in Cameron as well. So
Yeah.
Cameron got some more experience with a lot of other things that he could possibly go that direction. He's already doing a lot with welding. The guy gave him a great suggestion on which his next welder, what to go with, and what brand and everything. So that kind of thing was worth it for me. It was also something else for us to do together for, 3 days. We were, able to go on another trip together. By myself, I think I would have to weigh on how far away I was and what the cost was to get there. And also, if you're used to being pampered, like, or you want to really have like a bougie trip, that would be hard here.
Yeah, that's why I
Because
say
more,
I'm too
more
bougie
than
to go to Maker
likely,
Camp.
yeah, more than likely you're going to be cold some, or you're going to possibly be rained on, or, possibly walking in, wet grass, mud, and that kind of thing. It possibly. Apparently, we had a really nice weather day. Everybody was commenting
Well,
on it.
last year I remember seeing the footage and it like flooded
Yeah.
dang near, like
Yeah, they said
water
that
was
was the
running
worst.
through the middle of the tents.
Yeah, they talked about that a lot. I heard people talking about that was the year, but they did say it was warm that year, which is nice. They didn't have cold temperatures, so at least they had rain. That's why people were playing in the puddles because it wasn't cold. But if it's a nice fall weather, it's even better. I do think most people there are from the region. I get the feeling of it. All the people we know from social media that live in New Jersey, New York area, Boston, they all a majority of them could go to. It's just a no brainer that they drive over for it, even if it's for a day. They go over. So
Yeah.
that's so there was more that for that reason there was more people than I thought that I would know there. 3D Dave. I mean, all the people that live up there were there. Pittsburgh, Eric Curtis. It's like think about all the so it's
So you will go again, obviously
I
because Cam
will
wants to.
I will I will also combine something else with it. Cameron and I were talking about that like Sedge, he could combine it with a trip up to Maine,
Mm.
something like that. If you were doing something else in addition to it when you're farther than a few hours away, I think that would make sense too. Because I feel like, you drove almost 800 miles just to stay there for what, 2.5, almost 3 days, and then turn around and come back. I was like, I would like to have had something else that we did as well while we were up there. So that's something I would do differently as well. I'd make it like a 5 or 6 day trip when I went up there.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
I do think it's worth it. And I think that event, it appears to be getting better each year.
It looked like it. It
Yeah.
looked like it was better than years prior. It's getting a little
Yes.
more a bigger drawer for
Yeah.
people.
Yes. Yes. Brunt was there. They brought their big trailer and they were having some giveaways. And I was talking to them about the attendance, and they came the year before. So it's got a strong following. It's nothing like Workbench Con except for maybe the night activities. Um,
You mean
that
you like drinking?
well, that and they had karaoke in there, and that was pretty humorous to see some of the people we all know. Some of them were not in attendance the next morning, and up
Yeah,
until
yeah.
like two in the afternoon, did not see them. So
I
there's
remember
there's
one workbench gone. Jason comes up to me at like 10:30. He goes, "I think I'm still drunk from the night before."
Yeah, it was a few, 2 or 3 years ago.
3 years ago, and
Yeah.
I knew I was still having a buzz from the night before, and I was like, "Whoa,
I was up late that first night that year.
we
yeah."
hung out mostly with Dirk from Dayton and Stephanie and Eric Gorgeous. Whenever he wasn't teaching, he hung out. So we were kind of the group with Cameron and I. We kind of walked around together and hung out in and out the whole time. Um, Eric sat down with us after he was done with his class each afternoon, and we hung out until he um, had another class. And it was good. That's another thing I would say. I don't know if I'd want to go. Cameron made the comment too. He goes, it kind of bothers me. Some of these people, I can tell they're here by themselves. He's like, I don't know if I'd like that or not. And I was like, yeah, I know what you're saying. I think it would be good to go to take somebody with you, even if it was your spouse who wasn't into. Oh, that's another big difference. a lot of families with kids, a lot. Like I on
Oh,
Saturday, I probably saw I couldn't even guess. It was more than 30 with the small kids, people in strollers. That's something you don't see
Oh,
at any other.
they probably just came in from the day from the because they're from the
Yes,
region.
yes, yes. Um, like Ethan Abramson was there with his wife and baby. I didn't even know he had a baby. So
Wow.
he came on Saturday and he was walking around and met his wife. And it's funny, a lot of the people I would see him, I think, oh, that's right, they live in New York. Oh, that's right, he lives in New Jersey. And I was like, oh, that's why. They came over here and they're just
Yeah.
now appearing after it's been going on for a day and a half.
Yeah.
Um, so it sounds like for Steve and Eric, it's like a 3-hour drive
Hmm.
from the Boston area. But it's out there. Also, I mean, I don't people watch Jimmy DiResta's stuff, and I've always noticed it's kind of like seems like it's out like in the country, and it is out in the country. Like it's far out there from like away from when we passed New York City, it was like another over 2 hours, like 2.5 hours out
Oh
into
yeah.
the country.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's out there. A lot of farmhouses in like just rolling hills. It looks a lot like where we live in Kentucky, except for most of the houses look like they're all over 100 years old, like with
mm.
stone foundations and porches that are exposed on the underside, and very similar looking houses, like clapboard siding and very similar. And those like that for miles and miles. I saw Amish buggies.
It's the country where the Revolutionary War was fought.
Wow, that's
Hello.
cool.
I mean,
There's a
everybody thinks New York is, oh, New York City.
That's
That
what
is
Cameron
just
was
like
talking
the
about.
tiniest part
Yeah, New York is a
land
massive
wise.
state.
It is massive.
Yes. We drove
And
across it on the way out
there is
to
there
Ohio.
is so much phenomenal history of Revolutionary War in that area. It's amazing.
And
It really
also
is.
it answers to me why, Jimmy DiResta has so many antique and old tools and things. And I see why he's so able to do that now because we passed on Sunday, we passed like 3 flea markets that were just you could
Hmm.
tell nothing but old tools and things on the
Hmm.
tables. And they also had a market, they had a swap outside of the gates of this where people can buy kind of like a yard sale, but it's all tool related kind of things out on tables every day. That's big in that area. It seems like they have a lot of things they reuse and a lot of really old things. So maybe that's why they were able to get all those ham planes so easily.
Hmm. Hmm.
I did ask the woman who arranged that how she got them, and she said that they did. They went to all estate sales and yard sales and flea markets they could go to for a year, knowing that they were going to do this. And I would say they had 300 of
Yeah.
them.
The thing that blew me away, I saw that restoration station. And I went, okay, that's a great idea. But I didn't see much woodworking. And then all of a sudden, I saw Frank Straza was there. And I
See
went,
on the benches?
oh,
Yeah,
shnikey. And he was
yeah,
hand planing and he had a crowd around him. I go, of course he's got a crowd around him. He's one of our finest craftsmen in the States right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy DiResta taught a bandsaw class, which I missed. I think I've seen some him on there, and I've seen Alex Snodgrass's class. So it makes me kind of almost like, I know I haven't gotten to where I even learned from his class yet. But yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot to see. But as far as a woodworking one, no, it would probably not be worth it
Hmm.
if you were just into woodworking. But it was very interesting to learn the other. You could go there and just sit at the blacksmithing tents. And when I say a tent, I'm talking about a tent like the largest kind of tent that the big one, like the size of I'll say like 100 by 50 tent, and they have all the machinery in there, and they're pounding and like it's glowing things, and they're twisting it and making the handles and stuff. There's glass blowing, which I never even made it to that. I don't even know where they were
Oh,
doing that,
that's exactly what I want to do. I'm
but
going
it's
now.
cool. Some of it's cool to watch, just to watch it. There was a guy that was making copper bowls just making sitting there in a bench with a little steel thing coming out between like his knees, and he was pounding on it like
Hey now, hey, Ronnie, that's going somewhere I don't want.
Maybe I do
he
want to
was
go to
making
this.
these little
Maybe I do want to go. A little steel
he
thing between his
oh
legs, and he was pounding on
he
it.
he was making little like all the way down to shot glasses, and one guy Dirk's friend bought 2 of the shot glasses for like $150 for 2 of them. the guy that was just making them that was behind there. But they were really cool. They were copper and looked like they were kind of like lead color on the inside, like silver. They've been tinned, I guess. Um, so yeah, there's a lot. More than I even realized as I was sitting there saying, but it'd be a great thing. It would be a great father-son trip or father-daughter trip. She's into doing that kind of thing. For some people, it looked like it was a good for the whole family. For some, they were going. Or if you're just focused and you want to go like build a stone wall, you don't need to take any friends with you. Just go.
Yeah.
And I would say that the food plan is not worth it. Just get a ticket and figure the food out yourself.
I think if I was going to go, I would do I'd figure out food on myself, like you're talking about. But what Dirk did, because that most of the people that I've spoken to that really enjoyed it, they did the whole like get a RV delivered and they just show
Right.
up and it's ready and you can
Yeah.
be on your own. And it was
Yeah.
great.
That would probably be the easiest way for someone who wanted to be just like as close to like the hotel type that you're. Yeah. Sam was there with her van. I got to see it. I'm very interested in it because she built it out. It took 9 months, and she was able to
Is it
show
like
that.
a sleep van? Like she
Yes.
did a
Yeah.
van, mini
Yeah.
house makeover, whatever the
Yeah.
thing it was. Yeah.
Yep. It's really nice. She did a really good job on it, and it's like a full fledged, heat, everything, shower, everything. So that was cool. That became the hangout spot one night. There was like 10 people in there with the side door open. So that became the conference room of like the hotel lobby.
Yeah.
So it's fun. There's a lot of many things that go on. It's more spread out than like a workbench con conference. People can spread out. They can be in different areas. So it's hard to know the attendance because people are so spread out.
Hmm.
But I do know on Saturday, the roads up and all the way up and down the roads as far as you could see were car to car. So it was a lot busier on Saturday than Friday, but there was still plenty of room to walk around. It's not shoulder to shoulder or anything. That's the other thing. I don't feel like anything you want to get, you don't have to wait that long. Like sometimes I'll do sessions of 8 or whatever, but it's like you just got to stand around for a minute and you can just jump in.
Yeah.
So it's an
Well,
interesting event. I don't know of any others like the way that it is.
yeah. I don't know. I've thought about it a couple of times and then I don't know. I think if I don't go there with any thoughts of it being woodworking related, just because what I know about it from talking to people. But I do think there are some things there that would be fun to learn and try.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and they have the experts there. You can ask questions too. So yeah, it's definitely something that's cool.
well, cool.
So we
Well, you went to another event too.
yeah.
We'll let Sedge start off this one because he started to talk about it this weekend at the house, and I was like, no, 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 no. Want to hear about it on the podcast?
Oh, by the way, that brisket was good for lunch today.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it. Patrick and Michelle forgot the brisket
There,
we left for them in typical fashion.
Oh,
it was delicious. Okay, you want me to start? I could just knock it off real quick and then let Ronnie give his perspective. We had a build off in Tampa. We had two teams and they built two pieces of furniture and we raffled them off. Ronnie, what was your perspective?
I was like, is he done?
Okay, so
You were there the day
um,
before
this
for
is
me.
okay. So this is a tough one to talk about, and when I say talk about, we've Alan and I have been doing the build off for 8 years. We often think we should have trademarked it because now people are doing it all over the world. Um, uh, I know Festool Germany's doing something. Rubio Belgium's doing something. Festool Sweden is asking us about it. It's just, and if you don't know what it is, we get usually it's been upwards of 16 people, but we pared it down to now it's like we try to do 5 and 5 or 6 and 6. We put two teams together. The way it originally started is here's some wood, here's the Festool tools, have at it. And I can remember when we first started, Alan said, "Is this enough clamps?" And we only had two bar clamps. This is at Rubio in Austin, and they were the squares that they had there were Swanson squares, plastic ones. It was horrible. So after the first one, that went really well. I was like, "This nothing will ever happen." And I think we had 7-7 on the teams, and they built two beautiful pieces of furniture. And we learned how to auction them off or raffle them off, and it's just been a learning experience for 8 years. Alan came up to me, and it's always been a day and a half, but I was insistent because I wanted to push the envelope on the Florida School of Woodwork to make sure we could promote it properly, not just the school, but also push the raffle. And we did Festool Live, and there was a lot of work on my part and Chris's part to get the right hotspot and make sure it worked. We went through Starlink or whatever, Skylink, whatever it is. That didn't work. It's horrible uploads. So we
Ooh.
finally figured it out how to do it. So we were set on that. So we had to add an extra day. And that's what made it, I think, this year. But it still came down to the wire. It was like we thought, oh, it'd be done after 2 days. Nope. You guys did exceptional. Both teams had exceptional design. After about midday, the first day, Alan came up to me in the lunchroom that we could oversee everything. And he goes, Sedge, this is like unbelievable. And I go, what? He goes, we're out of it. We usually you and I are running around making sure they have everything. I go, Alan, think about it. Just about everybody was an alumni, and everybody chosen was a professional builder, a contractor. They either furniture or they owned a business. They built commission pieces or they were cabinet makers. I mean, you guys knew what to do. And then if we had a couple of people in there that have never done this, they were exceptional. And I'll call somebody out, Alexis Dolisi. She was recommended by Kate, and it was her design, correct, on that
Yes.
Starburst cabinet. Okay. And then Keith was the lead on this one. So the way it worked is we had already gathered the teams before, and we had ordered all the wood that you guys needed. And it was a little bit different criteria where you guys had already had your plans set.
Yep.
Okay. So in saying that, I looked at Alan the beginning of the second day and I go, these get finished. These will be the finest pieces that ever have been built. And I will tell you, they were. It's because we gave you guys the extra day, and you guys mostly were alumni. You know what to do, or you knew the skinny. And Ronnie, I'll tell you right now, I'll mention it because I don't know if we have drawn the winners because it ended October 10th. They were $10 a
Mhm.
raffle, and we raised about $6,700.
That's a lot. That's went up 1,700 since last I heard.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to tell you right now. I truly believe this because they were Cronovian cases on stands. Okay, beautiful designs, exceptional. Both of them are exceptional pieces. I would say at least they could go if they were commission pieces. I would say probably charge 15 to 20,000
That's
each.
where I said same thing.
Yep,
I said 10 sounds too cheap. I said 15 range.
yep.
Both of them could be
So
15. Yep.
whoever wins is getting one hell of a deal,
Yes, they
and
are.
I love both of them. So sometimes in the build off, because I have a particular taste,
I
and
want to look at them again while you're talking.
sometimes things are built, and I'm like, okay, they're beautiful, but would I put it in my house? Oh, I couldn't because it's not my taste, right?
Hmm.
But I could buy it if I want it, and I could give it to somebody that would love it because every piece has always been beautiful.
Hmm.
I would want either one of these in my house because they're exceptional. The best pictures, Jason, are on go to School of Woodwork. That's Kate. That's the Friends of Florida School of Woodwork's website. School of
Okay.
Woodwork at School of Woodwork on Instagram.
Well, on the World Wide Web, it's just
School of
schoolofwoodwork.com.
Woodwork.
Hmm.
Yep. And
Oh wow.
so they got finished. Ronnie, you were on Keith's team.
Yes.
It was beautiful. You had a great team. Both teams worked really well together.
Very.
And you know what? At one point, I was kind of twiddling my thumbs, but I had a job to do, and that was Festool Live from there. Quick shout out to Megan, who's the new president, because Florida School of Woodwork just went nonprofit, and it's now run by the Friends of the Florida School of Woodwork. And Megan's the new president. Kate, thank you so much for all you guys did. Kate Swan is the director, and also Andrew Gibson, who helped out. I don't know if they're all listening, but exceptional. You know what was a joy for me was watching you all work, and I didn't have to. Okay, but I got a chance to hang out with Alan, Keith, and Natalie from Rubio, and also Chris was there for a day and a day and a half, and also Lucy was there from California. She's our social media guru, and it was great because we all got a chance to get together and all talk, tool and finish business while you guys were working. And you know what? We had great times at night. Ronnie, I wasn't certain about that. I always call them booze cruise, but it wasn't a booze cruise. It was just a cruise thing that
Hmm.
we all got on, and we went out, and there was a all you can eat. It was a buffet, uh, but we went out through the oil refineries of Tampa Bay, but came back in through the intercoastal where all the fancy homes are, and it was such a beautiful evening, wasn't it?
Yeah, they time it just with the sunset, so you're getting
Yeah.
back when it's dark. But yeah, the weather was really nice, and that was pretty cool.
And then we went. I think the third night we went out to another nice restaurant, and you and Cam stayed. And
Mhm.
Friday night, we all went out and had some wingies.
Yeah, and I
We
went
went
with
to a place called, Justin said, the best wings in Tampa. And we went in, it was a place right by the arena where the Tampa Bay Lightning play. And it's called Hat Tricks. And that was cool, huh? They were good.
yeah, they were very good. I knew Sedge was a wing master, so I said I just want whatever he orders, and they were good. I liked them.
Were they spicy?
No, they were. It was Parmesan
Oh, I was
and
gonna say
maybe a
usually Sedge
medium,
gets the hot
Well,
ones.
medium.
well, we got them the way it's called Dave's Double Grilled. And it was the house, not house sauce, but they put Parmesan on there the second time. But then I got a really nice hot sauce on the side to dip.
Ah,
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was it was really good. So that was nice. I'm glad we stayed extra night. It ended up working out because we were there. That was supposed to be the half day, and we were there. We didn't leave the Florida
Oh
School
my.
of Woodwork until 5:30, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You guys had to.
yeah, we had
Hey,
to.
hey. And the cool thing is, the next morning we all went to the airport and we were all in the same flight to Atlanta.
Yeah, we didn't even know we were on the same flight until we got
Yeah.
there that we were
Yeah.
coming back. I had an old moment and I've thought about it 10 times when we left for the airport and we saw all the people in their clothes from the night before getting
Yeah.
after bar snacks and walking around and talking. And we had slept and we were waking up to go in the airport. They were still having their night from the night before.
I
That's how
know.
early we left.
I saw I saw two guys walking with two bottles of wine in their hands, and they're like kind of not stumbling, but kind of being loud, walking by the valet when I'm picking up the van, and I'm just going, "Yeah, I remember those days."
Yeah,
It's 3 a.m. and we're leaving for the airport.
and we passed that pizza place that was all glass and it was
Yeah,
packed and everybody had on like there was like girls like tight dresses on like you were like that was from the night before.
oh, you
they're
know
all
it.
they're still awake. So
Yeah,
yeah, that was an
man.
old moment, but we got out of there and it wasn't stressful, and I like getting to the airport a little early. It's nice. We did try it hectic though. We had a 40-minute connection in Atlanta, and we landed in gate A and we had to get to E, and we had 40-minute layover. So we got there where they were already had called all the things and we all the
Oh
sections,
wow.
and we barely made it, but it was nice because we got home quick. Very
Yep,
short layover, so that was nice. So that
for
was
sure.
that was a great trip. Um,
So, Ronnie,
yeah,
back to you. What was
yeah.
your perspective of the build off?
Well, I've been to enough build offs that and Cameron, has had exposure to it with it also. And we just thought it was hilarious how Sedge was not getting pulled left and right like he usually is at a build off. Usually it's like, hey, Sedge, where's this? Hey, Sedge, hey, Sedge. And he's running around. He's getting, getting things and he's helping people. That was a very, very obvious difference that I've never seen before. Like it became a more of a just walking around and observing. But another one that you didn't talk about, Sidge, is that there was never one time that you ever told us how much time we had left. No
I
one ever
know.
did that.
I know.
You didn't do it, and Alan didn't do it because, like Sedge said, we understand how much time we have, and there's no need to tell us. And they
Yep.
knew that. But usually, they come out and they're like, 1 more hour, or like just 4 more hours. Make sure you're looking at your need to get your Rubio on,
And it needs to be in glue up by the end of the
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah. Telling people it needs to be in glue up, that kind of thing. There were any of that kind of instructions given out, which there didn't need to be, and that was a very obvious difference, very obvious. Even Cameron commented on that. The other one is how well everybody worked together. Um, the I learned some things even about just, but not that it's hard for me to learn, but I did pick up on some tips and tricks, and I think we all did. I heard all of us say at least one time, "Oh, I guess we could do it that way." I heard that a lot, and that's really interesting because people have their own way of doing things, and it's like, oh, I guess I could do it that way. I heard that a lot. It was cool to work with people that all do it. They're all in the business. We knew what we needed to do, and then with that, we're under pressure. We made mistakes, some big ones, and it's interesting also to see how there was not like a thing of like, oh man, is like, okay, let's do, what are we gonna do? That's what happened both times. You want me to tell you what the mistakes were?
Ronnie,
Oh, I'm
can I
waiting.
just can I just say you were like a little boy.
When
You came into the lunchroom and we saw you put the door in there and you looked around and you were going like this.
I
Okay.
didn't know you
And
saw me.
oh yeah. Oh, and I was like, don't let nobody stare. Don't look. Don't look. And then you came back and you said, I I can't tell Keith.
I said I'm scared
So,
to tell Keith.
so scared. You were like, I thought you were gonna cry. You were like a little boy. Okay, so insane. Oh my God. It was the best. Okay, so go ahead and say what you did.
Well, I remember looking back out the glass window where you are in there, and I see Keith, and he's kind of almost like bouncy, happy, like we're getting a good spot. We're getting. I was like, look how happy he is. I can't go tell him. I can't.
And then when you went out and told him, he just went,
Yeah, yeah,
scratch on the back of your head. That is
yeah,
such a tell. Okay, so go
yeah.
ahead because I get some
Well,
comments on it too. But go
so
ahead and what
we
happened?
picked out a piece of walnut just for the door. So keep that in mind. We picked it out. We skip planed it where we could tell the grain and make sure everything was good with it. On top of that, we'd already pre-milled them down to rough size, and we had them labeled with white Pica pencil written on there of what style, rail. Okay, we had that in a stack, and I don't know if you know this, Edge. One of those were lost. We
I
couldn't find it
know,
anywhere.
I know.
Okay, the other team had to help find. We never found it. We finally gave up. We're like, so that's curse number one on the door. It was just we lost part of our matching thing. So then the second time we went ahead, we made another style, and then I still, how sometimes we make a mistake, you want to know why, and you're like, that's why I made the mistake. That's why. I still don't know why I made the mistake, but my theory is because I didn't measure. I never do on that. I marked a white line with my Pica pencil on there. I think that I marked the inside miter, the outside miter line, and then I switched it over and I decided I was going to cut back from the inside mark
Ah,
because when I think about
Ah,
it, that's how much shorter it was
but
than
but
the opening.
okay, so I'm going to interrupt. They're working off a very cool prototype door too that they built.
Oh, correct.
They
That was
had
my,
built a
yeah.
prototype door.
Yes, I made the prototype door just so we could figure out the rabbiting in the hinges, that
Yes,
the cup hinges wouldn't get in the way of the rabbit for the
right.
rattan. So we had to make a prototype just to figure that out. So yeah, this is the next door after that. So it was not a measuring thing. It was that I marked it, and the only thing I can come up with because I made sure that I marked it right was that I cut the miter the opposite way. I flipped it around the saw, And that could also come back to it's not the setup I'm used to, the way I do things. So you're always having to work differently in a shop you're not used to, and that
Hmm.
also introduces mistakes.
Okay,
Um,
so let's talk about time though. This
yes,
was the third day in the afternoon.
which we were already saying that should have been done around the Festival Live, which is half day.
Right.
Yeah, we'd already passed the Festival Live.
You're already past the Festool Live.
Yes,
It was the afternoon. And then, of course, you couldn't find that piece. So you went and milled another piece.
right.
And then you made the door.
Yes. And then took the door out of clamps and I held it up and realized that it was too short by about the size of the rail. And I remember it's one of those things you look at it and you're like, okay, what can I do to change this? How can I change
So,
this? Okay, people are going to know. People
but
are going to know.
but when you put it in there and you told us, and then you like a little boy, I can't tell Keith. Then you went out and told Keith, Nolan split and started walking back to the machine room. I go, hey, Nolan, come in here. And I go, yeah. He goes, yes, Sedge. I go, do you have a door stretcher back there? He just turned around, started laughing, and went to the bench.
Uh, you introduced his name at the exact time I was going to talk about him. He helped out so much in that moment. I didn't even think about it till afterwards. But I was doing that thing where you just kind of sit there and you go, you just almost want to quit. You're like, no, I don't know what to do now. We're out of time. Nolan's like, I'll go back there with you. Let's try to find another good board.
Yep.
And we only had maybe two back there, two pieces of walnut left. And we were going through and we found one that we thought could work, but it was cutting it close, but we skip planed it and looked at it. So I've talked about this before. Whenever there's a mistake, I always think about if I can make it better on this next one, if I have to remake then it's okay. Well, we
Yep.
happened to find one that was beautiful. Like one side had a little bit of sapwood, but we cut into it and we could get past the sapwood. So there was a curly side of grain and there was a straight grain. And we were able to get the two top rails. We were able to get those with the curly grain, and the styles are the straight grain, and they matched
Yeah, I
perfectly.
just noticed that as I zoomed in
Yeah.
on the picture before you
Yes.
started mentioning that. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. The top and bottom rail match, and then the two sides are like
Yes.
riffs
They
on.
And the coloring was better on that one than the other one. It was darker overall. It was a darker door. The other one was lighter. So that made me feel better. But Nolan helped me plane it down, get it milled down to size again, and get me to the point where I could just go back to the miter saw
Okay.
again. And no one said, you want to make sure you measure twice? No one gave me a hard time.
Nope.
I got it built pretty fast. We used
Oh,
quick and
yeah.
thick. We used quick and thick with dominoes to make sure we really got it to grab on quick enough. And it was okay. But one of the issues looking back with that door is because it was an inset door, the door had to wait until the case was assembled. The
Yes.
case couldn't be assembled until everything else was done. So
Mhm.
we were really late in the game. We already had Rubioed everything, and the case started going together. Once that case went together and Festival Live happened, that's when we could get the measurement on the door. So it
And
had to be kind of late in the game.
and then people started going, got to go to the airport. Got to go to the airport. So I was running back and forth the airport. And at one point I come back and it's you, Ronnie, and Keith, right? And that was it.
Right. Keith
And it was
stayed.
four in the afternoon. This is on the third day.
Yeah. And
So when you look at the picture, that rattan
yeah.
is AI.
Yeah, it's photoshopped.
It's Photoshop.
Because the rattan, we were like, nope, we're not going to get that done. It's going to be a really bad job if we try to do that really quick. So
It was
Andrew is going to, the Florida School of Woodwork was going to have put that in. We talked to them. They were going to install that, and that was amazing. It saved us from our plan was to ship it back to me and have me do it and ship it back to them. But they said they would do that, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So
I
in the
also-
picture,
Uh-huh.
that's photoshopped.
Yes.
Lucy did it.
Lucy did
Lucy
it.
didn't go out to dinner with us on Friday night. She goes, I'm exhausted and I want to make sure I can get that photoshopped in for the pictures. I go,
And she
okay.
did it. She sent it to us
Oh,
while we were
wow.
eating. And then also there was another massive mistake that I didn't make. I'm glad. But it's funny, it's the person who makes a mistake feels worse than the people on the team because the same thing happened. We were like, okay, what are we going to do? Dominoing the top of the case out of all
That's
things,
right.
not
That's
the
right.
bottom, the top of the case. Putting the clamp the board, you go to put it in and plunge through. Forgot to change the setting straight through the top with the domino. And this is like, this can't be rebuilt. It's the entire top of the case just plunged through. And we all sit there and immediately he goes, "Oh no." And we all saw it and we were like, "Okay, what can we do?" And we started talking about our options. There was exposed dominoes. And that wouldn't really stay with the look. But then we started talking about knot holes and if we could put like a knot hole in it. So ended up taking a shaper and finding the best knot hole we could find and taking the shaper and tracing it, use the shaper trace, cutting out the knot hole, and then on the other one using the shaper to cut out like a 1/4 inch recess and popping that knot hole on top of it. And it looks like a design feature because it was in the dead center of the table, right in the front. It's the center divider popped through in the middle.
Yep.
And if you look at the pictures, you probably can see it if they have a picture of the top. But it's a really cool knot that's just you wouldn't really notice if you didn't know.
Yeah,
Huh.
it was cool.
So that was a neat. Those two delays really didn't cost us that much time in the whole scheme of things. 3 days. It was just a very complex build to try to get done in that amount of time.
The rail and style that they were doing on something on the other cabinet, Justin wasn't happy with it, and he goes, I just can't live with it." So he went and remade all the rail and styles. I was pretty impressed with that, but it wasn't a complaining. It's just I'm not. I know we can get away with this, but for me it's just not right. So he went and redid the whole thing. I was like pretty impressed with that.
It's amazing how
Yeah,
much just adding one day can level up the
that
piece of furniture.
that
One thing
that's what
that
it was.
I've heard from a lot of people that were on the outside watching the build offs. Matter of fact, the one that me and Ronnie participated in Lebanon. Um, People talking about like the mediocrity of the things being built and the basicness, and it's like I think even in our Patreon, in Discord, guys were talking about it, and what you don't understand is when you have a day and a half to build something with a group of individuals that, quite frankly, and you guys will back me up on this, are at very different skill levels,
Mhm.
right? Very different skill levels. And these build offs actually highlight those levels and who is good and who looks good, and which is why you guys were talking so much about the how much of a change this particular one was and the caliber of people that were there. But you can only do so much in a short amount of time. Like, no matter what. I mean, you got glue up, you got finish, you got to do. You can't make it too complex because you're talking a day and a half. Half of the first day is like designing it, and trying to
Yeah,
make
see,
sure you have all the pieces.
we gained a half day on that too because our design was done.
Yeah.
So that helped too.
Yep.
So it's just really impressive because I agree with both of you. Those are the two most impressive pieces I've seen built in one of those. Not saying that the other pieces that have been built or the ones that I've been involved in weren't nice pieces. It's just like there wasn't that level of added complexity, right? Where with the doors and taking the time to grain match, or just looking at the added features, the inlays on the doors, taking the time to fill that hole on the top. Like, those are the things that you get when you have just that little bit more time.
Hmm.
And I think that this should be a lesson moving forward. I'm sure it is. And I'm sure, Sedge, you could say that you guys have probably talked about it and said, hey, moving forward, we should be like this because it's good for everybody, right? It's gonna earn more money in the bids. More people are going to be interested in it
Less stress.
and
Yeah.
less stress. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Because
think a benefit, go ahead.
as somebody that's been on those teams, and Ronnie, maybe you felt like this too. There's been times where I've been like, it'd be really cool to do this, but now we don't have time. We just need to get this done.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's things that get
Right.
scrapped. Yeah.
A lot of corners get cut. You probably don't
Yeah.
sand to the level of
Right.
that you should because you're worried about getting finish on there before the timer ends. Like, it was the right choice extending it out for sure.
Yeah.
It just by looking and by listening to you guys talk.
And
It,
just
it,
and just all the for me, it was a lot less stress, but it's because I had a lot. It used to be just Alan and myself. I mean, we'd have support from the Rubio guys in the office, like, hey, what do you guys need? Stuff like
Mhm.
that. But it was, Alan and I running things out of that Ruby because for the first 4 years, it was just me going down from Festool. That was it. No support from Festool, just tools. Nobody wanted to go. And I was like, wow, we had somebody working there that said, I don't think it's really good for content. I was like, what? And I just went with the flow. And then we had some things changed. It was COVID, and I got Clint, the CEO, and he said, "What?" He goes, "We'll fully support that going forward," because Alan and him had a really good talk out at AWFS, and Clint goes, of course, well," and it's just blown up from that. It's been a priority now. It's one of my things that I'm in. That I'm how do you say it's part of my job description now to make sure the build off goes off and stuff like that. Alan and I are pretty proud of it, and everybody who works at Festool and Rubio should be too. And I'll say this: everybody who's listening who has been part of a build off, we totally understand, especially Alan and I. You guys pay for your own way there, but you also are taking yourselves out of your businesses. All the other people, the makers, builders who've been part of it, you're taking yourselves away, especially this time. That's 4 days. You took yourself away. And we truly appreciate all of that too, because we understand, that's 4 days out of your businesses, everybody. That's 4 days away from your families. And, of course, we take care of everything, hotels and food and all of that while you're there, of course. But it's not a free ride totally. You guys pay for your way to get there. And I hope everybody listening understands that it's we just kind of host it, but you guys are the stars, all the makers and builders and influencers, if you want to say influencers, but we truly appreciate it. Yeah, yeah, that was funny, Ronnie. You said I wasn't running around with my head cut off. Hey, Sedge. Hey, Sedge.
Yeah, I mean, you get so tired of it, that you hear that all day. Another one difference that Jason you would find interesting is Alan never really stopped it and said, "Hey, let me tell you about this. Let me tell you about it." There was no time,
I
but
mentioned that to Sedge.
he
I
he
mentioned that to
knew
Sedge this weekend. I was like,
he knew we all knew
that's something that,
Rubio
yeah,
and we knew how to use it. And there was not any. Usually, it stops. Oh, for anyone who doesn't know, he'll
right.
stop, and when he gets close to the
Totally
timer finishing,
unnecessary.
well, I mean, I think at one point people didn't. He was making sure that everybody knew. There was always people there that had not used Rubio before, but this time he knew that we all knew how to use it. So there wasn't any instruction. He actually helped apply one for. He helped me get set up when I
Yep.
was getting ready to do some of the parts. So he was there to help and walking around. What color do you need? What do you need? I'll get you an applicator pad. I'll get you a cup. And I'll mix it up for you. Like he even did that. So he was there, but it was a totally different way that he normally is there.
I kind of feel like that probably started off as a festival and Rubio are putting on this build off. We're Rubio. We should train people while we're here. And let's also take this as an opportunity to get content. But
Hmm.
now I think moving forward, because so many people know about Rubio now and everybody that's there has obviously used it, or else they probably wouldn't have been invited in the first place. Quite honestly, that would be my assumption, is that it's all people that they know in the field, and probably one of the ways that they know those individuals, because at some point they've used Rubio and tagged it and they got added to some list or whatever. Not saying they shouldn't bring people that haven't used it, because that would be a training opportunity. But moving forward, I think what they could do is, while everybody's building, they're just off to the side doing a live demonstration on a separate piece of material, and it would get the same effect. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But you're
Hmm.
right. Like, everybody knows how to use it. And then maybe because they're not doing that now, they're like, what can we do? Well, let's help.
Right. Right.
Let's
Right.
be a part of one of the teams, right? Let's be a part of both teams.
Yeah, that was it. That was another big difference. But I actually didn't realize that until towards the last day, like reflecting back, because I guess I kind of always thought it was coming, that we were going to have like a little Rubio like overview, or that that it was going to it pretty soon. Sedge is going to come out and say, "Okay, you all need to get going. You need to start, wrapping up." But it never happened because he knew that we couldn't be working any faster.
I
That's another
wanted
thing
to
I'll say.
stay. I wanted to stay away from you
Yeah,
guys
because we were busy
because
and there was
you were
no.
trying to get it finished.
Yeah, and there was not any side talk like hanging out things going on there like ever. Like on any team, there was never a time where people were just kind of like, you know how sometimes the people wait for while somebody else is doing a part and everybody else is kind of like, well, we'll let him do that first, then we'll go. There was enough experience level there that's like, well, I'm going to go ahead and start planing these down while you're doing that. Let's go ahead and we weren't planning on pre-Rubioing anything but the back because it slides in a groove. But Keith was busy fixing the domino mistake on the knot hole, and Nolan and I was like, let's just go ahead and start Rubioing pieces because it's going to be assembled soon anyway. And so we changed even the way we were going to do things because of that mistake and kind of made up for that time. That's, we have to do that. So it was very nice to work with people like that. It showed me too. I would like working in a shop with people who are capable. I've had people in the past that I've paid to be there that didn't have the skill, and that's not a pleasant thing. But it would be nice to be in a shop with somebody that knew what they were doing. I think you would feel the productivity.
Yeah.
But what we were talking about earlier, the cost. That's what I was thinking the third day. I was like, the cost on this would be at least 15,000, just because of even the man hours in that. If you say there was 24 man hours, just alone, plus the material. I mean, that was 24 rushed man hour. That was nonstop.
Oh my God.
I mean, that would be, if I was making that, I would allow a month. I would allow a month for sure.
Hmm.
And I probably would be stressing to get it done. Because if you say 24 minutes, that was 3 weeks of continuous, like simultaneous work. I think it would be a 4 to 6 week build. Keith is actually building it. He may have already started it. So it'll be interesting to see how long it takes him to build it on his own.
Knowing him, 4
Yeah,
months.
he will be. He's going to use brass screen, I believe, instead of rattan, just because he's doesn't want to deal with some of the things you have to do with rattan. But I believe he's going to be selling the plans as well. But it'll be interesting to see that. The things that were done on that cabinet that I would never thought of. There's two things. One on the side, there's like a 15-degree angle on what would be just an end grain. There's a 15-degree bit that just goes down and just lightly backs it off, and that's on the top and the bottom. We didn't
Hmm.
plan originally on doing the top, but it looks so nice on the bottom. We did it on the top as well. And the other one, go ahead, Sedge,
The
you got
one
something?
that I think was a killer design feature on it was that shadow line.
Rabbit, yeah,
That shadow line that from the top to the sides,
yes,
bottom to the sides, because if you understand design, that line carried across the top rail, across that opening in. So it what it does is the design you want to lead the eye, and that shadow line led the eye. It was
yeah.
brilliant.
The rabbit also stops where if you were looking at the side of it, you would see end grain and then you would see
Yep.
face grain and they'd
Yep.
be touching. But by
Yep.
putting that little, it was a 1/8 inch rabbiting bit, is what it
Hmm.
was. Had a big ball bearing on it. You could actually make it, more of a rabbit if you put a smaller
Yep.
bearing on there. But that was planned and those bits were brought. Bits and bits supplied those bits. Bits
And
and bits supplied those bits.
bits and bits. And the other thing, what I was taught is what you want is you want somebody to walk up to a piece of furniture that you've made and you want them to touch it. You want with your design to lead their eye, but you also want to walk up and you want to touch it. And you know how you guys did all those bold roundovers?
Yes.
I'll tell you, I saw Lucy go over and she went up to it. And she went, I love this part.
Yeah.
And I went, that is a true definition of a beautiful piece of furniture. That's how
Yes.
I look at it.
Yeah, and that was there was 1.25 inches and 1.5 inches round over a bit.
Hmm.
Don't remember which one we went with. Everything was prototyped, so everything we ran it just to see in real life what it would
Yep.
look like. We mmade a additional leg just to do the
Hmm.
prototyping when we were cutting. I did the initial cuts with the template that was already we already had pre-made from MDF, and it was a massive like 1.5 inch bit um, on their table, and that was a hoss. Like I was easing into it the first time, and I was a little nervous about it. But it was kind of cool because Andrew came over and he was like, "Here, look, I'll put this. Let me show you this right here." I was like, "Oh yeah, so you got the hang of that bit?" He goes, "Yeah, I designed that bit." I was like, "Oh, okay, well, that's you're always. It's always good when the guy who designed the bit is helping you with it." So that was cool.
Who designed
Uh,
the bit?
Andrew. He said he worked
Andrew.
for
Oh,
in,
oh, that's right. Yeah, he
yeah,
worked for them.
yeah. He
Yep.
said that was his project. That bit was. Um, so that was cool. So I used some bits that I have not used before. All three of those are ones I would not have used. But that it turned out awesome. And we spent a lot of time on sanding the proper way and cleaning it off and making sure it dried before we do the Rubio and all that together and buffing it out before we put it in there. It felt so smooth. There was nothing second rate about it. Nothing. There's nothing you could look at and go, oh, here's where they were in a hurry. There's
And
nothing. Nothing.
Well, actually, if you go, no, I'm just
Yeah, no, really.
and it was
And
great
go
because
ahead.
I also on your team you had Mike Hale,
Yeah. Yeah,
Michael
he was
Hale,
good.
and
He was
he is an exceptional furniture builder. But
yes.
that was his first time, wasn't it?
Yes, yes. So he was really good at some of the technical details. He was on that a lot. Um, it was just a great team. It was a great team. And the thing that I learned probably the most, I would say, while I was there was whole nother level of grain matching, a whole nother
Mhm.
level. Um, I've thought about it some before, and it kind of like some things it is what it is, but laying it out, spending more time laying it out. Um, it's funny, we all made extras of everything except for the door parts, but that's smart too when you're making such complicated things, the roundovers. They there was that was a big thing. And not being afraid to try other router bits. I think you get stuck in the same ones that you use,
Yep.
and it's the big thing that I've learned in a lot of the festival build offs is when I see the first design concept of what we're building, I'm kind of like, I just don't know if it's my taste. But then I see them in real life and I'm like, that's much better than I thought it was going to be. Cameron's project was one. They built a Japanese style cabinet. Um, I guess that's the best way I would explain it.
Yeah, it's
Um,
really cool.
but when you see in real life, it looks like something that would be in the back of Fine Woodworking magazine, highlighted, and that you go, wow, that's really cool. Theirs also was exceptionally well built. They used an entire sustainer of dominoes.
Hmm.
They used them all, like to where
We
they had to
joke
get
around
another one.
about it, but somebody said there's more dominoes. There must be 60 pounds of dominoes in there. There
Yes,
was. It was,
yes,
yeah, the eights. They was in a lot of eights, I think.
yeah. The sides. I was wondering when I saw their concept how they were going to make that strong, and I was like, is it just going to be dominoes? But they ended up putting a lot of them in each one of them. I think four on some of
Hmm.
those side ones. Um, Cameron did a lot of the door,
Yep.
which I was really proud of.
That was all tapered with the TS-75.
Yes, and he even went to the bandsaw and cut it
And
and split
he,
it in half.
yeah, he's the one who split it to book match it.
Yeah, and that's there's no do-overs on that. So he did that and it was just great. Very proud
Yep.
moment. He never asked me for help one time. Never
No.
asked one question. He stayed on the other side. He liked his team. They all
Oh,
worked
yeah.
really well together. We didn't do a lot of cross team talking at all. We were too busy.
Oh my
So
God, you guys were. My dad would always say, "Stand clear. It's elbows and assholes going 100
yeah,
miles an hour."
yeah.
You
And
guys all worked so well
it
together.
other teams help too. If I went to the planer and it was the other team, they would do whatever they needed to do to make it. It's a two-person operation. A lot of
Yep.
times they would stay and help with the other one. That helped. That happened many, many times. A lot of things you just don't see at normal build offs because it's just a different type of working. More people working together, and they're just not able to work as kind of in the same like-minded in a way. Like you said, people have done it for their job or that they're in the industry. You can tell a difference. But it was amazing. The only thing is also you were talking about it not being a cheap. You have to pay. You end up spending a decent amount of money, especially I have two people going. But it is a learning opportunity, but it's not easy, and it's not what I would say fun as far as like just a getaway trip. You work hard, like you're
Oh yeah.
stressed.
Oh yeah.
It's stressful. You go home thinking about what tomorrow we got to do this. We were sitting at dinner talking, Keith, and we were planning our next day, like what we're going to do. As soon as we got in, even went in early, we went in at 7 the third day. So that day we were there till 5:30. We arrived at 7, and Keith didn't eat lunch, and I had to eat lunch just because I didn't have breakfast. But
Because you
I
were
ate
trying to figure out
almost
how you were going to
like
destroy the door.
I ate like in 5 minutes and got back up. Like I felt guilty for having lunch.
It was Jason. He came in and he was holding the door in front of us, looking out. He goes, "I can't I I I can't tell Keith.
Your
So
your office
goddamn.
Christmas list.
Oh my God.
Oh, I was sitting there thinking, when the domino thing happened, I was like, oh, glad it's not me. Because it didn't bother me at all. I knew we could fix it, but I was just glad it wasn't me. So when it was me, I was like, oh man, it's me. I'm the one that messed up. But you're harder on yourself than other people are. We all have enough experience to know things like that happen. And you just got to figure out what your path of fixing it is. So it was really cool. It was a good experience for both of us. It's just that we were tired. We came home and we had 3 days before we had to leave for Makers Camp. So it was
There's
SplinterCon, the Build Off Festival, Rubio Build Off, and then Makers Camp, all
mm,
in 3 weeks. I
this
think Cameron said it was 9 states.
yeah. This past weekend was the first weekend I was home fully at home, but Chris and I worked all weekend, Saturday and Sunday, because I just haven't been home. And next weekend I'm gone all weekend. I leave Thursday for South Bend and I'm staying for the weekend at Notre Dame. So it's never ending.
Yeah,
Yep.
it is.
Not enough time in the day.
Nope.
Well, I'm glad you guys had a good time at the Rubio one. I will admit that I do wish that I would have been able to attend, because when I saw the pieces of furniture initially, and on top of that, saw the people that were there. I think there was only like one or two people that I had met before. Sedge, the girl, is one of the ones that you had mentioned in this episode, but I never met her. But like, that's all people that I really, really, really like in the community. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I think
Yeah.
it would have been a great experience. But I'm glad that you guys had a good time, and I'm glad that they extended it today, because that was 100% worth it for the level of build that you guys
Hmm.
were able to achieve. But it's good. Well, there we
I
go.
can't
Now we're
believe
all caught up.
I can't believe I just looked at the clock at 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's time for me to go do my dad thing. Rescue Nicole.
Ronnie, you look beat, dude.
Oh man, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I'm just glad to be home.
Yeah. Well, everybody, thanks for listening again. Once more, if you went to the event and you have not filled out the survey, please do so. Pretty please with sugar on top. Pretty please.
Bye
Please.
bye.
Bye bye.
Pretty please.
Bye bye.